Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. We're looking at the first week of February in the week ahead for astrology, starting with February 1st, which was yesterday, actually Monday. And let's get started. We'll take a look at the major aspect yesterday. For those of you who watched my monthly astrology, we'll probably be doing some repeating of the themes there, but there are a couple of things that we want to look at overall. Of course, we start the week with Mercury retrograde. Mercury went retrograde on the 30th. It will be retrograde until the 21st of February and doesn't get out of shadow until the 13th of March. So for all intents and purposes, Mercury is either standing still, moving backwards, standing still, or moving forward very slowly. So communications, information may seem like it's lagging behind. This retrograde occurs in the sign of Aquarius, and Aquarius is associated with technology and devices and things like that. So if you haven't backed up your computer, this would be a good time to do it. And continue to do it through the month, I think, to be on the safe side. So if we look at this first day of February, Monday, we start the week off with a square between the Sun and Mars. And we can see it here. Mars, of course, is in Taurus, the Sun in Aquarius. This is actually a last quarter crisis in consciousness square. This is part of a cycle that began, I believe it was 2019 when these two planets were conjoined in Virgo. And the Sabian symbol for that degree of Virgo, let me see if I can find my Sabian symbol book here. Sorry, guys. I had it here. Oh, there it is. Underneath it all is the Sabian symbol book. Okay, 10 degrees of Virgo, which I think is apropos for the situation we find ourselves in. It says, two heads looking out beyond the shadows. The growth of true understanding born out of the transcendence of duality, even while immersed in a world of duality. And that's really kind of what we're experiencing here and all over the world. But, I can only speak for what's going on in this country. Not that I don't care what's going on in other countries, but it's enough just to keep track, unfortunately, with what's going on here. And unless you seek it out, it's really hard to get information on other parts of the world, part of perhaps the narcissistic tendencies of the United States. It does have its Chiron in Aries, so calling people narcissists is like calling the kettle black when it comes to America. But first you have to know there's a problem before you can fix it, right? Okay. This last quarter crisis in consciousness square questions authority. These Mars cycles or 2-year cycles, we had a whole sort of 2 years to sort of ponder the energy of that. We're 3/4 of the way through the cycle. We still have 1/4 left. That quarter is about letting go. It's about working toward the common good, and then ultimately moving back into a unity consciousness. But there is definitely an awareness of duality, and we are experiencing it every day. And it's less about getting caught up in it and just observing it and understanding that it's part of what we have to sort of come to terms with and look at both sides of things before we move forward. So there is that. Of course, squares always bring crisis. Mars always brings, or generally brings a lot of energy. That energy is often seen in frustration and anger. So you can maybe feel like things aren't moving quite fast enough. We have to understand that we are in a Mercury retrograde, and that well, just that it's going to take time. And there's a sense of desperation, I think, where we feel like we don't really have that much time to be messing around. There's a different word I was going to use, but I won't. All right, so that is Monday the 1st. That's the major aspect, and I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to animate this chart. Let's see if I can do this. Hold on one second. So we're going to animate this chart one day at a time. So I'm just moving this one day forward. And it must have been, oh, that's weird. It was supposed to be one day. I did 1 week. Okay, let's try this. Okay, here's the first. I must have started on the wrong day. Okay, so this is the first, and then today is the second. And the moon is in Libra all day. The moon actually makes a supportive trine to the North Node today and to the Sun. In fact, at a certain point of the day, it's a little past it at this time. If I went back a little further, we might see it. There's a grand trine between the North Node, the Sun, and the Moon today, and that stimulates conversation. It stimulates talking, even if you don't necessarily agree. So it's a good energy for trying to iron out some of the details, as it were. North Node in Gemini, and then of course being activated by the South Node in Sagittarius, creating a kite formation, and also we have Pallas Athena getting closer and closer to the south node of the moon at this time. This could be beliefs around women in being in power, and what beliefs do you have about that, or collectively, what beliefs do we have about that, and is there anything we need to let go concerning that issue? So we could see that happening as well. Okay, the next day is we're looking at February 3rd, which is a Wednesday. And the major, let's see, is there anything major happening on 3rd? The moon has moved into position to Uranus. It does make an opposition to Mars as well, but that doesn't happen until Thursday. So we have the moon Uranus opposition today, Wednesday the 3rd. The moon does, when it's still in Libra, and let me see if I can just go back a couple of hours here, and we'll see it in Libra. There's the moon at 6. We got to go all the way back. I hope I'm not making you guys dizzy. Okay, here we go. A little bit more. Okay, so here we can see the moon is square Pluto here. This is a last quarter again, crisis in consciousness moon. The moon in Libra speaks of getting along. It speaks of consensus. It speaks of coming to an agreement. Square Pluto in Capricorn, that those who hold all the power and also hold all the money. So there is a challenge here for, and I feel at least in states, this has to deal with the whole idea of getting people the money and the services that they need in this very difficult time. Loosening the purse strings, so to speak, so that people have a fighting chance to recover from the situation that we find ourselves in, a mismanaged pandemic, which has put us in a hole that's going to take a long time to get out of, and it's going to require us to do things in a different way than we've done them before, and in some ways, in similar ways that we've done them before. But this really is a shift and a turn into bringing the resources back to the people so that they can utilize it to rebuild what needs to be rebuilt, excuse me, in this country. And we can see this in the astrology. We can see that these issues are being challenged, and these issues are coming up for us in the stars. So if we continue on the 3rd, moving forward, we can see that the moon is going to move into Scorpio. Right there, it moves into Scorpio, and then it goes on its way to making an opposition to Uranus. The moon Uranus also stimulates our, it gives us an awareness of where we may need to break free, where we may need to break free from something, Uranus. And in a very difficult and painful way to a certain extent, because we are dealing with the fixed signs. And whenever you deal with the fixed signs, there's always some sort of deep emotional samskara, perhaps, or deep emotional wounds that come up, especially with Scorpio and Taurus. You know, Scorpio and Taurus is the axis of death and life, or life and death. Taurus, Scorpio, right? And so these are some pretty intense energies that we're working with. Of course, Taurus is also our essential needs. What do we need for survival? This opposition stimulates our survival mechanism, and how are we going to survive as we move forward? How can we survive? What do we need to do? What needs to happen? That kind of stuff. All right, so we have that happening on the 3rd. And then we also have the moon making squares to Venus, to Saturn, and I think that's it, Venus and Saturn. And these are last quarter crisis in consciousness squares again. And so all these sort of a 3/4 of the way around the zodiac squares really does put a lot of pressure on the governments or the people in charge so that they can work for the people. So this is, hopefully they can get their something together, and we'll have some sort of help. I do believe help is on the way. That's non-negotiable. The question is how much help are we going to get? Okay, so let's go a day ahead, and we're going to go to and we're going to go to February 4th, which is a Thursday. We have a square between the sun and the moon. This is, again, a last quarter crisis in consciousness square. Here's the sun, here's the moon. This is actually just past that exact square. Excuse me. Scorpio is shared resources, and Aquarius is distribution of those shared resources. Scorpio also rules debt and taxes. So we can see that those things are being activated at this time for us to do what needs to be done. And if it doesn't get done, the people are not going to be happy, and they will hear from them. So, okay, so that's the big thing on Thursday, and we're going to go one more day here, and we're going to look at Friday. Friday, the moon moves into Sagittarius. We can see it's moved into Sagittarius. The Sagittarius moon is very freedom oriented. It's very big picture. We do have a square to Mercury, And of course, Mercury being retrograde, that square can be somewhat of a challenge. Um, we may feel like we're not getting our voices heard, and that creates problems. The moon in Sagittarius makes some supportive trines, however, to Venus and to Saturn. And that trine is a trine of progressive change. So we do have a good opportunity to really sort of move things forward to help people who need the help. And then on the 6th, we're going to look at a different chart. So let me change that share here. Okay. All right, and the last day we're going to look at is the 6th, which is Saturday, which is probably actually the most active day next to Monday, with the square between Mars and the Sun. We have first a conjunction between Saturn and Venus. This is the start of their synodic cycle. Venus is what we value. Venus is what's important to us. And the synodic cycle between Saturn and Venus gives us an opportunity to actually manifest that which is important to us, to manifest resources, to manifest whatever sort of Venus relationship and values, essential needs, those kind of things, money, the things that we need, the survival stuff that we need, and of course relationships, the type of relationships that we seek out. In Aquarius, the fact that this conjunction is in Aquarius says to us that these are there's going to be more Aquarian themes to the things that we manifest and attempt to build. And of course, Aquarius deals with the common good and humanitarian endeavor. So there's a real energy for helping the people. Now we know here in the United States anyway, that the Republicans are going to try to give as little as they can. Of course, they had no problem giving away the country to the ultra rich. But when it comes to people having enough food to feed their children and keep a roof over their head, they're not quite as generous. Oh, God. Anyway, so that is something that's being planted at this time. And then if we look at later in the day, we have Venus actually, which is here, right here. She's still pretty close in orb to her to Saturn, and she makes a square to Uranus. Last quarter crisis in consciousness square. This is the process of individuation. This is rebellion. This is, hey guys, it's time to take care of us and stop all your political BS. That's what it feels like to me. So I feel as though there's a real push for change. Now, if you notice, Saturn is at 6 degrees of Aquarius here. Uranus is at 658. So there's a little less than a degree between these two planets. This is the major aspect that's occurring this year. It's not going to be exact until the 17th of February. So we still have, let's see, this is the 6th, still have 11 days of exactitude. That being said, as two planets get closer and closer to their square, there is more pressure built up. So we will feel the pressure. And of course, next week, I believe it's next week, we have the impeachment trial. So we're going to have the issue with getting help to people along with the impeachment trial, sort of revving everything up. And I feel like on the 17th, we're going to have a expression of some sort. We'll see what that is, but just fair warning, guys, fair warning. But for the most part, this week is a little bit like relaxed. I don't know if we could say Mars square the Sun to start and Venus square Uranus to end. is sort of vacation or anything, but it's not nearly as intense as it was. But the underlying tension remains and will continue. And if we can take that underlying tension that we feel and not allow it to sort of wear us down, but to rev us up. And so then focus our attention on something that we have control over, that we can do. So whatever it is that you need to get done, this is actually we got a little gas here to do it and focus on it. And so when the real pressure comes in next week and the next week, if you have your direction set and if you have your decisions made as to what you're going to focus your attention on, you have a better chance of doing some sort of, it's almost like energetic surgery on something that you want to do. So if you want to say develop a class, I am doing a Kabbalah class. I'm going to tentatively say that it's going to happen on the new moon, which I think is the 11th, which I think is a Friday. So Friday evening for a Kabbalah class. I don't know. We'll have to see if anybody wants to do a Friday evening Kabbalah class. But that kind of idea, like set the intention and then put the energy in that direction. And I think it's going to work out for you. All right, let's do a card reading now. And let me pick a deck. Oh, what deck do I want to use? I think I'll use the Wild Unknown. It all feels like wild and unknown, doesn't it? All right, so this is for the week ahead. And let me just stop this share so you can actually see me. Hi. All right, so this is for the week ahead, February, well, actually January 31st. I mean, really, if you want to include that, I should have included January 31st to February 6th. So what can we expect this week? What's the energy? What do we need to be aware of? What's going on? So we still have some high winds from the nor'easter, but here on the coast we got rain, and so we didn't get any snow. There's still snow on the ground, but yeah, we got rain, which I was glad about, because one of the first nor'easters that we had when we first bought the house, I think we got 3 feet of snow. And it was blowing. It was blowing. And I'm trying to remember if that was the year that we and I think it was in 2000. Well, we bought the house in 2004. We bought the house in 2004. So I think 2005 was the first big storm that we got. But then in 2015, we had like the winter from hell here. Every 3 days, we get like a foot to 2 feet of snow. And there was a storm that was so bad that it took out our electricity for 30 hours. And of course, it's, it's like a storm, no electricity, 30 hours. We had a parrot, a couple of dogs, a couple of cats, an elderly mother. We had to sit in front of the fireplace for 30 hours straight. Let me tell you, that is not easy to do with the parrot and the dogs and the cats and the mother. Luckily, we have a fireplace, so we were able to keep warm. And my husband actually cooked in the fireplace, which was kind of cool. Kind of cool to watch. But luckily, we didn't get that. So we do get slammed pretty well, but it's been getting warmer. Like we don't get as much snow. We haven't gotten as much snow in a long time, so we'll see. Plenty of rain though. Okay, so this is this week. Okay, we have the moon. We have the moon starting the week. So the moon is a highly emotional card. One of the things that I've been watching as an observer is the news, and the news is very dire. They're talking about new strains of coronavirus. They're talking about um, the economy. There's, when the 45 was still in power, he didn't want to talk about the bad stuff. You know, he just wanted to talk about what he wanted to talk about, and so there was less bad stuff being put out there in a way. And now that he's stepped aside, it's like a reality sandwich, and it's really like it's a reality sandwich, and reality feels like stale bread and stale tuna fish, but it's the only thing that you have to eat. So people are freaked out. People are freaked out. People are very emotional. I want to say just know that things are going to work out as things will work out better with a more positive mental attitude than getting caught up in the fear. Let's see what challenges the moon. The Son of Cups. The Son of Cups. Um, I think the Son of Cups comes as a challenge to the moon in that people want relief. The Son of Cups or the Knight of Cups comes with on his steed, his white steed. He's got the cup. It's like the promise of love, the promise of of abundance and nurturance, right? Cups, and it's delayed. There's a delay in all of that, and that I think is potentiating the fear that people are feeling. Let's see what's at the root of it. A heartbreak. Yeah, we've had our heart broken. We've had our heart broken, and I will go back to the 6th of January, and uh, i- as much as I knew what we were dealing with um, when it came to 45, I don't think when he suggested or pointed his people in the direction of the Capitol, and there was the insurrection at the Capitol. It felt like um, a real knife to the heart, a real knife to the heart, a real like this is somebody who said they were going to protect us and take care of us, and it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened, and something even worse has happened, and it was really a heartbreak. But in a way, it helps to free us. The Three of Swords, while it's very painful and emotional, um, it does free us from a situation that perhaps we were stuck in. The idea that, oh no, he wouldn't do that, would he? That could have been the idea, or it doesn't matter anyway. But you get this close to, I've personally never been all that um, patriotic. I'm not really I wouldn't call myself a patriot, flag waving. I'm more of a, we're all we're all on this planet together, and we need to learn to get along and live together. But there are ideals that America holds, or that America symbolizes, that create the opportunities that we have, at least we have here in America. Not so much the other countries that we mess with, their democracies, right? But there is a promise there, and it is there is this hope that it will survive, and it's going to look different, but the tenets of it are going to be are maybe we'll actually start living the spirit of what was said. Like really raising all boats, right? Um, so the ideas are valid, the system is valid, um, but the system is quite broken. And I think that um, that breaking of the heart, that breaking of the door of the Capitol, um, broke through an illusion that we had about ourselves, um, that we could take democracy for granted, or that it would always be there, or whatever. Something was taken for granted. And now it's time to really look at the situation that we find ourselves in. Let's see what was in the past. We have the Father of Pentacles in the past. I think this could be the promise of help. Let's see what's in the sky. Oh, the Six of Pentacles. So it looks like we're going to get some aid this week. This week, it really does look like things are going to move in that direction. And the astrology kind of said that that was a possibility. So that's good. That's good. Let's see what's in the immediate future. Strength. Okay, strength. So the strength card is for us to be strong, that we have the strength, that we will move forward. The strength card in the Kabbalah sits on the path between Geburah and Hesed, severity and mercy, the balance between what needs to be cut away and what needs to be supported. This also deals with your ability to speak and co-create through the energy of the throat chakra. So be very careful about the words that you use. Be very careful about what it is that you say, because it becomes your reality. It becomes your reality. If 45 hasn't taught us anything, that if you say it over and over and over again, it doesn't necessarily make it true, but it does make it more apt to happen. So be careful what you're saying to yourself. Be careful how you talk to yourself. Be mindful of the words that you use, because you are creating you are manifesting your own destiny through your vibrational, the way you choose to vibrate. And that includes with what you say, but also with the energy that you allow to move through you. So it's up to you. We have free will. Our free will is how are we going to respond to this? That's our free will. Not whether we're going to experience it, because we're going to experience it. But how are you going to react and respond to it? And that's where the choice comes. So it looks to me like, actually, with these cards, that we're dealing with a sense of feeling betrayed, but that we are going to get the aid that we need, at least a start, a beginning, a moving in that direction. So that actually makes me feel very, very good about this week coming. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Like and subscribe. And if you haven't seen my Kabbalah and astrology and numerology of the month of February, I suggest it's really good stuff, really good information. And I think you'll find it very helpful as we move through this continued tumultuous time. Take care. Much love. Take care.